Mic check, 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 mic check, 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 mic check, check, check. I got it. I can hear it. I can hear it. Oh my God. I got it. I got it. I hear myself talking. I hear myself talking. Oh my God, Serena. Computers, girl. Computers. Okay. Listen. Look, after this, girl, I could be a computer tech now, a geek. I could be a geek tech girl. I'm like, I mean, I understand all of the formats and everything that it tells you. It's just you just gotta follow so much, honey. It is so much to follow. So I'm like, okay, well, let's try this. I know it's not the drivers. I know it's not any of that, right? Because it's a brand new system down here. I'm like, okay, but I know brand new systems can crash on you too, but I do know how to go inside of the computer and fix a little few things, the components inside of there too, without taking it, out the house to an actual geek squad that's gonna charge me hundreds of dollars to fix it. But you know what though, Serena? I'd have threw this shit away and went and bought a whole new brand. That's just me. If I know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try up to 3, 4 times, maybe. After that, I might walk away from it. And then I'll be thinking about it while I'm doing something else. And I'll be like, oh, let me check this too. And then, okay, I check that. If it works, it works. But if it don't, I am the type of person, baby, I would have discarded this stuff right out there in that garbage and took my butt right on either to Best Buy or Walmart or somebody and bought another one. That's crazy, ain't it? That's some crazy shit. But let me tell you, I have a big meeting Monday, right? A big meeting Monday. So Friday I postponed my agenda for it. Okay. I kind of wrote a draft of it. So of course, the two of the grandboys are here today. Fancy here, the darn dog. Him and Teddy. She's a female. Okay, she's a female pit. And like I say, Teddy is so territorial, just like anybody else's dog. When this is their space, so they literally been fighting like all day today. And it could be the territory part. It could be she's a female, and sometimes I'll see Fancy kind of turning around, like, okay, he's not going to hump you. He's just not. So, or it could be that Teddy is neutered and he's just not interested. And can you imagine having puppies, a pit bull and a Terry poodle mix? I would be like, then I'm like, oh, this is incest, you guys. You guys are like sisters and brothers, even though Teddy is way older. Teddy is old, and Fancy is, I think she's about 4 or 5 months now, but she's pretty big for her size. Now, Fancy got upset with me because she wants to jump up on the couch. And it's like, get down. So I raised my house shoe at her so I could pop her on her nose. Girl, she took and growled at me. Girl, don't even try that. I'm not scared of no freaking dog. I will hang you up here by this ceiling fan. And then, of course, Teddy senses that, and he's standing on guard, so he's ready to fight. And I'm like, Teddy, you ain't no match to Fancy. Now, Teddy will growl and snap at Fancy depending on the proximity of her closeness to me, right? And Fancy just looks at him, it's like, listen, dude, I will wear you out, really. You're like the height to my ankles. Like, what are you gonna do? So Fancy so far has never snapped back at Teddy to put him in his place. She lets him dominate, but at the same time, I watch them because it is a pit, and she has a button too, like everybody else, that can be pushed, right? And well, I said, okay, Teddy. She fancy gonna snap back at your ass. You're gonna be around here crying. Like, you better leave her alone. Then there's some occasions where Fancy is over hyper, and then I have to house her. Fancy no house, and Teddy knows cage. So if I say house to Teddy, he looking at me like, "What? I'm in the house. What are you talking about?" Mm, okay, but I have this meeting Monday that I have to conduct, and I must have been really, really in such a big hurry to get out of there Friday. I had left my hard drive, and I need my hard drive because my draft is on my hard drive, and I need to be printing out some paperwork in color, because so it can look nice and everything, right, for the meeting. So while I couldn't get the microphone together on here, because I literally disconnected everything on this computer because my monitors wasn't coming up. So something had to be cross-footing in the hard drive for some apparent reason. So in order for me to correct what was going on, I did read, like, just disconnect everything, and I had to do a reboot on it 3 times until the motherboard is able to recalibrate itself back to where it was from this cross-footing. It's something that was cross-footed, and I'm like, okay. So I did that, but I got one monitor up and going, and girl, then I ain't been back down here since. I was like, yeah. So now I am down here, and I am going to get my work done. Happy pre-Mother's Day to everybody out there. Forgive me for all the lives coming that I activated, because I knew that the microphone was needed to be troubleshooted because I couldn't hear it in my earphones myself. So thanks for y'all patience out there. However, happy pre-Mother's Day. I hope most of you guys know that I'm really, really, like, not into a whole bunch of holidays. I kind of stay away from them because they just costly, man, and they're very costly, and I'm not just an expendable person all the time because it's every holiday. For example, of course, my mom calls Friday, and she's hinting around, on some things. Now, mind you, they were just here weekend ago, right, when the truck broke down. And I promise you, I bought her so much stuff. We were out, I bought her the gold Jimmy Choo. We ran over to Macy's. We ran over to Famous Days, and I bought the ribs dinner, and I like, literally. So now it's Friday, right? I'm getting off work. Mom's call, and then she started talking about 2 of my other sisters and then 1 brother, right? And, oh, well, they're sending this stuff here. Now, this is my mom, Serena. This is my mom. She hints around on special occasions for people to remember them, right? Okay, well, don't forget to, and this or that. And then she'll turn around, and one of my brother's wife, right? This my mom's Serena. I promise you. I sure hope, she ain't sending no more of that junk from Amazon. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really? So I asked her, I said, well, why don't you just tell people what you want? Which I think is borderline kind of rude. You know what I mean? Because what if that person wasn't even thinking about getting you anything? Well, what do you want, Mom? Well, everybody could just send money. Everybody loves money. That I could just get what I want. But people like to pick up little special gifts and ship them off and things like that because it's the thought. Some of them are memoirs. They giving you something for you to remember them by, and stuff like that. But girl, now mama, I be cracking up. And your sister, your other, this the sister in Arizona. And here she go to time out, I'm gonna get you a vacuum. And I said, okay, but you need another vacuum. So now you don't have to go out and buy another vacuum. She don't even know what kind I want. I'm like, Serena, girl, you can't win for lose with mom. Seriously, I'm because my sister has pretty good taste, right? She's not gonna overspend, she's not gonna underspend. The object of the freaking vacuum is to vacuum your carpet and pick up the dirt. What's the problem? I don't care if it's a $29.99 vacuum. Is it picking up the debris off? My mama get all into the details of it about the color, girl. How many rollers it had on it, how long is the cord to it, and how big is the canister. And that's my mom, girl. I be over here. I'm like, you, mom, have several seats and stop doing so. When it got around to me, of course, after I get to hear all of this of what she has to say about everybody and their gifting and things like that, right? Now I'm thinking, oh Lord, okay, well, what am I going to get? Well, nothing. How about that? Nothing. No, I ain't going to say nothing. I will go ahead and um, gift the gift card in a card tomorrow and drop it in the mail. It's going to be a little bit late because I literally have been super duper lazy from Friday up until today. The two boys are here. Kiwan is no problem, but of course, y'all know Andre has to have intermittent supervision. Okay. So while I came live first and my microphone didn't work, and I was like, okay, pal, just walk away. So, mind you, I said that I left my hard drive. So I'm like, come on, Kendra, let's go up to the job. I got to get my hard drive. So I did that while I digress from this. And now I'm back. That's what I'm going to do. You say you just exactly just send that's exactly what I'm going to do. But this is the reason why I think I've gotten away from so many special holidays is because they're just headaches to me. It's damn if you do and damn if you don't. So that, yours and mine's either, Serena. My mom don't need nothing. Nothing. What do you want? Not only that, some things I think she forgets, right? Because, I have minks, silver fox, black minks. I have minks. I have like minks, right? And I've had them for a while. I don't wear them as frequently, but my mom also has mink coats. She got like 3 of them, the thousands and thousands of dollars. I pay that bill to the mink factory. I ain't gonna say the actual name of it, but in Chicago, I have to pay that bill. Then every year, it's a little bit extra because they have to take them out to put them through the cleaning and the treatment and stuff on them from them sitting up. So in the factory, but I'm like, does she realize what I pay? I pay. Anywho, and now she wears hers, if she's coming out in the winter, her hats and stuff like that, her mink hats. So she has more access and conveniency to just run down there and, go in and get the one that she wants to wear and then she takes back. I don't, I just lost interest of wearing them like this. So I'm like, fuck, who the hell? Now, if I'm doing like a really, really special New York occasion, Times Square is freezing out there for the New Year's and then watching the ball, yes, I will conveniently drive my butt down there for 2 hours or so and grab a mink and stuff. But every winter, I'm usually just in the house now. So eventually, like I told her, I think we would, we should probably think about putting them up for sale, and getting rid of them because she's getting away from them. She's older now. I'm not in that character anymore where, the dress to kill situation. I'm not in that like that no more. I'm not in those clubs. I'm not doing those things that were, at some point required you to have that particular dress code anymore. So I think it's almost time for me to get rid of them. However, yeah, girl, I gotta ask you a question. Serena, how do you feel with this whole entanglement of personal feelings and opinions and things continuing going on about R. Kelly? I was thinking about that today. I really was. I was truly thinking about that for a little bit, and I always ask them like, why? You know, and there's no answer to why. There is absolutely no answer to it because there's too many damn answers to it. But it's like, why? I don't. I get the entertainment part. I get that. What I'm lost at what is there. Is there a super prize behind the continuing of the fighting, of the selective fighting, the outrage fighting behind what happened to R. Kelly? I don't think that there's anybody, in my opinion, that is going to prevail their argument as far as being outside of the court at this moment to help R. Kelly. Then I also weighed R. Kelly, Robert Sylvester Kelly, a little bit into the beginning of the situation. I was asking myself, like, you know, was he involved in, particular people that he was talking to, and knowing that this is behavior of these people out here, on the internet? I was asking myself that too, because I would be devastated to know that. And here's the reason why I say that, though, Serena. It's because of after Bonjean and in the midst of Bonjean coming along before, she come along, because he absolutely had, the few attorneys before she come along, right? And so I'm saying in my mind, does R. Kelly really sit down and interview his attorneys? Does R. Kelly know if the people that's behind recommending them or hiring them on his behalf, has he really done his research with that? It's crazy. How is it that there's like been nobody, like, well, I guess we wouldn't know that. Someone that has no connection with anybody that you've been seeing on the microphones out here, right? A whole different attorney, which would have been, I guess, Bonjean. Now, I'm not sure at all how Bonjean became recommended to R. Kelly, or who recommended her. That would be interesting to know. I would like to know who recommended Bonjean. I would like to know who recommended Nicole and all of these other freaking attorneys that came about. Who recommended um, Stephen Greenberg? Who recommended Kanik? I be wanting to know that. I do. Because none of them doesn't seem to, of course, it's obviously that they wasn't picked by the court. They wasn't public defenders. So it's like, who recommended these people because of R. Kelly alleged dyslexia and things of sort, and also his need for the speedy trial to free himself from being in jail. Who are these people that was behind this? Who did that? So if I get into Steven Greenberg, it says here that he recommended himself. So I guess he can be taken off my questionnaire chart, right? It says here, I Googled this, and it says that he recommended himself. So it's possible that he heard an R. Kelly was being indicted. And of course, they probably see the stuff coming in through the database and all of that stuff from prosecution records or something like that. And of course, the news, we know the news, we'll have that impromptu about it. But let me see. Yeah. Based on available information regarding R. Kelly's legal team, it appears that Steve Greenberg himself stated in a September 22 interview that he was initially brought onto the case, hold on, after being introduced to R. Kelly's previous team. He had an interview with WGN Radio. Greenberg, he first introduced him to his current defense lawyer and talked to them on time and spoke about his role as a defender for R. Kelly in his case. 2019 role, Greenberg became R. Kelly's most public defender in 2019, following the release of the surviving R. Kelly. Greenberg and his fellow attorney, Michael Leonard, later withdrew from the case, 2021, due to issues with the new lawyer. So that means, according to the timeline, that after this release of Leonard and Greenberg is when, in my opinion, all hell broke loose surrounding R. Kelly's freaking case. Let's check it out. I need to. It says I can't skip it for 2 minutes, so I'm gonna pause this commercial. So give me a second.
For over a century, businesses have trusted LaCroix.
Okay, let's see if we can go back to the beginning and see.
Were underage at the time these acts were taking place on videotape?
Well, look, I haven't sat in the trial. The prosecutors have put forth what they believe the evidence is going to establish. The defense has been very rigorous in cross-examining. And now we've heard from McDavid, who says, I was there at the time. These people were not underage. People looked into it. We had investigators. We had attorneys. People were making false accusations against R. Kelly. There was a billboard where they advertised, come extort R. Kelly, essentially. So I think there's a real question as to whether people...
Let's rewind that back, because he says that he was hearing from Daryl McDavid that there were no one underage. And if that is so factual, then I'm still questioning how come that wasn't proven. Why was it proven in opposite of what he's saying, because the argument, well, I get it that like this was Chicago, right? But the argument in New York was saying that, okay, the transportation happened, and then some alleged videos that came out, which in fact, I don't believe that anybody out here would have the actual videos that was shown in the courtroom. You know, I do remember Infamous Sylvia speaking on a particular video, but however, I don't believe that Infamous Sylvia actually got to see that particular video either, because they didn't show the, you know, the visual points of interest to the public. I believe that the only people that did get to see particular videos where they kept that argument strong in the courtroom was the judge and the juror. So that, when I heard Infamous Sylvia say, well, they had the view, and I heard Infamous Sylvia saying that that they were only speaking verbally about insinuating what the age of a particular person was in that video. So nobody actually ever seen it. And that's kind of messed up, and I get it. It is to protect the privacy of whoever was in this freaking alleged videos or whatever. But to my understanding, from what, you know, the Curb is saying, that it is not any of the videos that Michael Avenatti was screaming about. You know, they on the Curb, it's like it was some whole new different volume of some videos, but we'll never know that. We'll never know that. And you know, unless at the time when the discovery was able to be shown to the officials that was allowed to watch it, Jennifer Bonjean wouldn't know that. How come nobody has contacted Jennifer Bonjean and is like, hey, tell the truth about what's on that freaking, on those videos? But and here he's saying that Durham McDavid says no, there wasn't. Now, Durham McDavid has connections with Bo Brentley, and sometimes you got to follow that timeline of relations with specific people.
Accusations against R. Kelly. There was a billboard where they advertised, come extort R. Kelly, essentially. So I think there's a real question as to whether people were underage. Ultimately, the jury's going to see the evidence, watch the video, hear the witnesses, and they'll make that decision.
How do you think the defense is
I want to
doing?
go back to the Durham McDavid part, so hold on.
Established. The defense has been very vigorous in cross-examining. And now we've heard from McDavid, who says, I was there at the time. These people were not underage. People looked into it. We had investigators, we had attorneys. People were making false accusations against R. Kelly. There was a billboard where they advertised, come extort R. Kelly, essentially.
Now, I'm not certain about the time frame of Durham McDavid being in the presence of R. Kelly or inside of his home or the studio. I'm just saying, if he had this information, then of course, why didn't they put him on the stand as well to be a witness for R. Kelly? Huh? He says that it wasn't.
So I think there's a real question as to whether people were underage. Ultimately, the jury's going to see the evidence, watch the video, hear the witnesses, and they'll make that decision.
How do you think the defense is doing so far? We're seeing evidence of these tapes, and we're hearing heart-wrenching witness testimony. How do you think the defense is doing combating that?
I don't know if it's heart-wrenching, because if you look at all of it on direct, it might be heart-wrenching, and then on cross-examination, you might find out that it's not true. Like one young lady who claimed that she was underage when she met R. Kelly, but she had no phone records speaking to him in the year she claimed she was underage. Those started the next year. And the person at the event that she said she met him at came and said and testified for the defense that in fact R. Kelly wasn't even happy about where the girl said she met her. So heart-wrenching is a little, in the eyes of the beholder, I guess is the best way to put it. I think the defense is doing a great job. The judge, to his credit, is letting them ask the questions that need to be asked.
Oh, did you see Nicole Becker back there? Oh, she's in there. He's in there. All these different attorneys. R. Kelly had so many different attorneys throughout this journey, and this was just insane to me. Insane. And then coming off as being probably the best, other than the people in their testimony about, who's the best attorney or who was the best attorney. As far as my opinion, my perspective, though, I believe if I had to choose, throughout the whole process, everybody would have had to go, and I would probably just would have stuck with Bonjean and her firm, and also, hopefully to bring Kanik along. His time was brief. He was, quick in and out. I guess he had to sit in on something and all of that stuff. I'm not sure. Didn't get all into it or whatever. But once you end up in entanglement of different attorneys, and then so many side curve of people from everywhere, the R. Kelly case was doomed, y'all. It was doomed. It was way too many professional attorneys involved in this case. It was just way too many. Way too many that obviously was, in my opinion, looking for a very good payout. But I think once they actually divulged inside of R. Kelly's finance, the mind started to change, and then the work started to change, and then the attitudes start to change, and then all of the branches broke off from the tree. It's like, oh no, and everybody can look and see that this was made to be one big ass case. Making a documentary behind this, like immediately. Do you know that the average criminal case usually takes about roughly, if it's put together, where you'll usually see a documentary on that, months, 2-3 months or so after a particular person is incarcerated. R. Kelly documentary dropped while this case was still wet out here on the ground. It was unbelievable. I was like, what? When they do this? Like Jeffrey Dahmer, all of those serial killers, right? All of the female murderers and things like that. You usually don't see the documentary until afterwards. You have a piece in the documentary of them going in and interviewing the the constituent, I would say the inmate and everything, to insert some of their pieces of what they have to say, and so on and so forth. I was like, so that there was also a red flag for me, because of course we all that watched it was convinced that they had to persuade this juror, which they would tell you was sequestered, and a question was imposed to them about, well, have you seen this? Well, do you know of R. Kelly? Well, have you been, and have you read the papers, and have you did this? Knowing that, how, national TV, really, you think that any of those people that got selected to be on that juror was had not seen anything about this case? That is malarkey and freaking burnt baloney. You would have some that is going to definitely lie about, to those questions, so that they can. Some of them are jury gurus, love sitting up on them. I hate them. I said, I got selected one time to come down to Chicago, man. I ain't up. No, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time. So I actually never in my entire life, after being sent out letters to report for the jury duty, have ever sat in a juror. Never. Have you guys? Have you guys ever stood in a jury pool and got selected? I'm curious. I'm curious, but let's see what else Greenberg had to say. I want to throw this back because this is the time here where we see Greenberg in there. You see Bookham in there, right? You see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this one right here, this is when the story came about how he ended up standing in as a security. As you can see, R. Kelly didn't have as much security, and it's also possible that most people don't bring a whole entourage of security with them coming into a federal building that is pretty much already secure. You'll see, listen, let's use Cardi B, for instance, when she was going into the courtroom. You did not see a Cardi B surrounded by an entourage of security. I believe that it was one guy with her entering the building, and on her way out, you'll notice the rest of the security that is out there standing, waiting for her to exit that federal building to make it to her car and home safely. Now, on here, when I seen this, I'm like, okay, well, R. Kelly was already coming in the building with attorneys or whoever. Maybe this guy back here was a security, and and then I'm like, okay, so he needs 3. No, he did not. So when I look at this picture here, of course, we know Bookham always puts himself or had put himself into whatever photo that is going to capture or somebody's angling in that way. This is the picture here where he absolutely, after this, comes out and becomes makes himself convincing of knowing R. Kelly. Well, so does that person, so does that person, so does that person. However, I'm almost, and I feel certain about this, that this person was not there in R. Kelly's home and life. Neither was this one, neither was this one. And dig this. You never heard this one here, Enid, Minute, Minute, and Mo come out here and do nowhere near as much talking as this person to convince anybody of anything. It was only the presentation of this person. I was the godson. But here's how that old story went when this dropped out here, right? This picture, not talking about the whole entire video, just the picture alone. Now, we all know, and if you don't remember, then I'm going to remind you. Do I know it's factual or not? No, I do not. And I don't give a rat's butt about that part. But there was some other people that knew how this kind of played out, which gave Bookham the narrative of establishing how close he felt to R. Kelly as a godson, something like a pops to me. So he was showing up. R. Kelly, I was aware that there was, because he said it. He said it on one of those video calls, right? That, he called me and told me that, hey, we got this Facebook or this fan group for you. We're going to be out there for you. And yippee-ki-yay, mother sucker, it went down. R. Kelly was fine with that. Okay, y'all, come on. I appreciate that. I need all the support that I can get. Fine. Now, R. Kelly, I'm pretty sure common sense click in. You got a bunch of human, regular ass people out here ain't making nowhere near $100,000, a year that is want to serve up their time to come out to say, free R. Kelly. Stand behind him. Stand behind me. He likes that. He always talks about, he loves his fans, right? He said he loves his fans. He did not say at one freaking time pointing out one individual person for them to receive the solidarity that this person was looking for between him and R. Kelly. So I could not understand why he did not just kind of let that flow, fall back off of this whole I'm the godson and that's something like my pops and stuff like that. Because here's the thing, if those words didn't come from the horse's mouth, you best to believe that it is almost 99.9% unbelievable. So allow the person to make who you are talking about, make your story believable. But he never would allow that to happen. It was just the more he said it, the more everybody believed it. And you know what? He can have at it. It was due time for everybody to fall back and say, well, okay, well, you can have it, because here's the next process to that, right? It is, okay, your god daddy is locked up. So now I'm sure most people would want to see the godson doing visitations, showing birthday cards or showing letters that they would, because that would have put Bookham in a more prominent stance and in another volume, another chapter of his godson to god daddy life. Views would have blew up, but he didn't use it to his advantage that away. That's some weird shit to me. However, back to the story, people that was down there explained how he ended up getting there, on a particular scene such as this one. And, as much as he came and he probably asked to be, part of a security, a lot of people know that allegedly that is part of Bookham's background in his resume. He does security. I even assume it or believe that he is because he was doing security at Metro Petro when I came out, and you heard the walkie-talkies, and he was securing apartment buildings and things like that, right? He even portrayed himself of being a cop at a security something at one point in time when the doing the infamous Sylvia catastrophe and him shit came out. So okay, he kind of put that out there that matches that. You know what, let's believe that he was something like a security cop. Okay, but and they says that, well, R. Kelly says, well, okay, because he's there so much and he wants to convince R. Kelly that I can help, I can guard you, I can be there, I'm going to protect you and all of this stuff. And then they says, well, fortunately that there was a suit coat that belonged to somebody that he made, hey, go get this, see if it fit this guy and put it on him so that going into the courtroom, he can, look a little decent instead of coming in here as a security with the Superman t-shirt on. So they dressed him up. And they put this appearance on him, of course. And R. Kelly knows that the cameras are rolling. He knows that the cameras are snapping out here, right? In certain angles, and people are going to be captured in these videos. And of course, guess what? They get posted every single where. In the vision of in your optical of what you look at, this is how we establish our perspective about certain things, whether if it's true or not. By vision, we look at it and then we just put our own little story out here about it, and that's it, and that's all. But of course, Bookham comes back into his defense, and the story about Bookham and his goddaddy, and he's the godson. It took off. It took off. Now, what became very, very puzzling out here, right, is that you had almost 5, 6, 7 people that claimed that they had a non-DNA connection to R. Kelly. And whether you're the god brother, the god sister, the god mama, the auntie, the uncle, the niece, the nephew, and the cousin, okay? But at the same time, that whole particular family tree who claimed non-DNA with this man, right, was all fighting against each other. How is it that if the family who is by God, of God, for God, and announce that they have this person in their life with God, are fighting each other? Their godly family tree should have been much stronger together than it was apart against the public. Let that sink in. They should have had the strongest freaking voices out here. They probably should have even established a godly brother, sister, uncle, niece, nephew, auntie, YouTube channel and ran it all together. They'd have blew the fuck up. They couldn't do that though. For somewhere, one of the godlies didn't like the other godlies, and this godly was by golly and old golly over here, and they all separated, took off individually, and a whole bunch of goddamn confusion started out here. A whole bunch of riffraff of bull crap started out here. And the only person that I can remember lightly, let's move on with the video. I want to finish it.
A great job. The judge, to his credit, is letting them ask the questions that need to be asked, and the jurors get to see the witnesses. As I said, the prosecution asked the.
Is this a different court date? I'm just asking for a friend. Let me bag up and check out R. Kelly's attire. Hold on. Nope. Okay, so that's a different court date. All right, because here he's got on a brown tee, something like blue Burberry type color suit coat. Okay, I just wanted to check that out.
The judge
because,
credit,
and I only wanted to check it out because Godson didn't make it in time to continue on his escorting his god daddy up, and so maybe he had to work. I don't know. Maybe he missed the flight or whatever the case may be. But I'm just saying, it seems like that. Don't stop till you get enough. Be at every last one of them and get the marching up in there. So if he was here on this one, which I don't know the order of these, I don't know if this one came first or the other one came second or the second one came first and vice versa. But he's here on this one. And I remember this initial hearing here. But the other one, I think I've seen it. I just don't know which one came first or last.
Witnesses, as I said, the prosecution asked the questions on direct. This is what they believe. The defense asks questions on cross, and then the jury evaluates it all and makes a decision.
We talked to an attorney for one of the victims at one. I'm trying to remember, and I believe he said that on the tape, the girl says she's 14 years old. Is that the only way to really confirm evidence in this case? And if that is the case, regardless of who lied about what and whether it was consensual, it doesn't matter if she's underage, correct?
Well, if she's underage, she's underage. But again, this is a witness who has said for years and years and years, it's not me on the tape. Her parents said, it's not me on the tape. Now they're coming and they're saying something different. Again, you've got two different sets of statements. And the earlier statements that it was not her on the tape were all made under oath. They were made before grand juries. There were statements to investigators. So the jury is going to have to evaluate.
He's talking about Rashana Landfair. He said that, I put my teeth in, that she stated under oath. That's not me. My question is, what was it that still allowed the prosecution to come back, regardless whether if she said it under oath, that she said it under oath back then, to all of a sudden, that don't matter, we strategizing, and now we got her today. Isn't that crazy? How is it, of course, confusing to me, but you understand the law is the law, and trying to be above the law as a sideliner like me and a whole bunch of other people, of course, it's irrelevant. You have to actually be somebody that's somebody in the official world that has that standard, that has that the sources and all of that stuff to be able to go up and really fight against what had happened here currently, as opposed to what was said years ago in a prior case. So she says that, he says that, I'm sorry, that no, she said under oath. So does under oath actually mean anything nowadays? Or does the law state that regardless of that fact, here we are in a new trial and she's able to change her mind? Now, I do know just at a glimpse, not in totality, that the law had changed on the time limit as far as alleged victim timing to come forward. But does that apply to someone changing their mind from when they first made the statement under oath? So this is a thin line between all of this stuff, right? However, of course, the uproar that came about out here amongst the people was that she was paid, she was offered based on, with some immunity gifts and things like that. But I don't even know if that's true. I don't know. I'm not behind the scenes, and I was wondering, how these people know that this girl got a lifetime of Section 8 and she got paid. Well, we know the award, the monetary award for that situation. But I was like, I still don't know. I don't even know that, like, these people find out and stuff like that she got offered this much. Like, was this in black and white? Was this written somewhere of all of the conditions that she would get in exchange for taking a stand or writing this book? I don't know. Was it crazy?
That I don't think you can just say because she said something on a tape, it's necessarily true. For God's sake, on every TV show.
Now, you just saw Nicole Blank Becker walk through there with R. Kelly. Now there's been some discernments about Nicole Blank Becker out here. She's glued up over here on this post. She's been put out on the video over there on this post. And I think I briefly touched on Nicole Blank Becker a long time ago when there was when she came out and she was plastered up with Bora Bora. Okay, I don't know the specifics of the connection with her and Bora Bora, but I believe that they were very close friends. I do believe that or know that Bora Bora was also one of the people that had aligned herself in connections with raising money for R. Kelly. I do know that, but however, that's probably here, near, or there, right? So Bora Bora is here. Now, this takes me to the whole R. Kelly thingy, right? Well, who was it that spoke to Mr. Kelly and told Mr. Kelly that, hey, you should meet this attorney, Nicole Blank Becker, who was once a prosecutor. I believe her biography is she was saving women at the time of her prosecution, years, and all of a sudden she crossed over, because people cross over quick. Yesterday you was a Republican, but today you are what is it, I can't even think what the hell it is because I'm not political. Republican, and I just went brain fart on the easiest fucking shit in the world, right? However, right, it'll come to me. So just as well, people make switches like that. Now, I'm sure she is practicing or still is Is she practicing as a defense attorney, or did she go back to practicing as a prosecutor? I'm wondering. I wonder that. I don't see any more cases. I can pull her up, and yes, there's some old cases on her where she is litigated and things like that. But however, here she is here. Did R. Kelly know of a Nicole Blank Becker before he hired her on this team? Did Nicole Blank Becker know of Azarel parents first, and then got cool with the girls, and then of course called in or did what she had to do to assign herself a meeting with R. Kelly and brought in her potential. Thank you, love. I went brave for it. And I went brain fart on it. Had I been writing fire, it'd come right out. But now that I'm speaking on it, yep, it went blank in my head. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. I usually have my mind here that be on it, be like, Democrats. You know what else so far? I'm old as hell. My brain just ain't, unless I'm writing by, it comes out so clear. I'm just doing. But the minute I get to speaking on it, I'm like, where is my freaking cerebral, that left centrical in my brain? Like, what just happened? But thank you for understanding. I appreciate it. And thank you for helping me with that. But that's what I was talking about. That was my relations to of what I was talking about, how we change over yet from today and into tomorrow. It will, it will happen. So, but you have Nicole Blank Becker here with R. Kelly. And again, out of all of the demonstrations that has been imposed out here, dropped and left for you to decide or determine according to your perception to obtain your opinion about things. It's like, what about R. Kelly? Did he not sit down? Did he not do his homework? Did he not, maybe reach out beyond of somebody that don't know these people to say, hey, I need you to, follow up. However, it's also fair to say that at this time, during R. Kelly trial calendar events, right, that he didn't know who to trust. The man had some of everybody hitting him from the right to the left, from the front to the back. He did not know who to trust. So he opened the door up to at least trying to trust that somebody is somebody that will be honorable, that will be, there for his defense. However, like I said, if you look around in this community, you will see several things that are being said about Nicole Blank Becker and who she may have been, in touch with or connected with or this or that. We all, and I'm just hypothetically using that word, we all. We're not, saying you or you and you. I'm just, in general, we all saw or heard the opening of Nicole Blank Becker when she stood up in front of the jury in the closings. And the first thing that she said was that you will find R. Kelly guilty. And of course, I'm sure we all could have imagined the eyes bubbling, popping open on the jury, even though you may have some jurors that was like, okay, she made a mistake. But at this particular time, they will tell you, R. Kelly is in trial, fighting for his life. There was no room for mistakes. So in order for that to have been the first thing that comes out her mouth, it was the last few things that was stuck in her head, in my opinion, from the witnesses that took that stand, that was saying some things that had Nicole Blank Becker mindset stuck right there because Nicole Blank Becker had been prosecuting pretty much most of her freaking career, to my understanding. And it is very difficult, in my opinion, to come from trying to put someone away based on the same allegations that she fight as a prosecutor, putting people away based on what alleged victims are testifying to all of a sudden, here we are on Tuesday in the closing arguments, and Tuesday is just generally speaking, I'm not saying that it was Tuesday, that I'm supposed to defend R. Kelly. Overnight. Your mindset, in my opinion, has to be on high alert, has to be on high experience of a record, let's just say 10-2, 10 winning and 2 losses on defending somebody, because your mindset's going to be stuck there. That's just my opinion. No different from what I'm doing, okay? When I go up front, my mind is not nowhere thinking about how I know how a prosecutor works, but my mindset, because I've been doing it for so long, is on defense. How do I get them out? How will I win this? What can I beat going against what they saying and this or that? It's never about, thinking like how they think. You have to lose that thought. And I truly think when I heard her say that before they seated her down, because I believe after that she got seated down. I don't think, if I can remember, they allowed her to proceed with the closing arguments for R. Kelly. However, sometimes you cannot wipe away what the damages already have started. You got those alleged sequestered jurors who they did not want the world to know and still have not come out to speak on anything about this case, right? The first thing they hear was, you will find him guilty. But she's here. She's here in this picture during this time of R. Kelly going back and forth to court, right? As his attorney. So before I think everybody indulge their mind into one place after seeing so many different collages of this and the videos over here for this and the videos for that, right? Yeah. Where she come from, R. Kelly? Who sent her, R. Kelly? What was it that she proposed to you in an interview to hire her on as your attorney, R. Kelly? So there is a lot of R. Kelly questions that, did he do his due diligence in his homework? And I know, like I say, most of it is probably going to be a no answer because of the desperate of wanting to be released, the desperate of wanting to trust people. And that was very difficult. He was dealt the minimum of a trust card out here. Man, they hung this man by his goddamn $5,000 tire, tie attire. Hey, they just hung him dry. I think they really did. And I get it. To the public, yes, they got to put out here. They did what they was supposed to do, pull the paperwork, present the paperwork, show up for court, argue this to the minimum, argue that to the minimum, like Greenberg has stated at one time. And I believe that it was a lot of tangled arguments out here after Greenberg stated, right? It was exposed whether if Greenberg was, going to fight or just let New York snatch the case first. A lot of people out here was arguing, well, had he kept this case down here in Chicago, that New York would have went totally different. That's what a lot of people beliefs are, but at the same time, How much control did Greenberg have over saying, no, we want to run the case here? If wait a minute, because my memory recollects, I'm not sure, was he even asked that question? Do you want to go first? Or was Greenberg not entirely prepared to go first? I'm just saying. You know, I think one of the accountabilities that I do see wrong with R. Kelly is he talks to too many people. He talked to too many, and I mean too many. I don't give a damn if I known you from 30 years ago. I ain't seen your ass in the last 15 minutes. Just because I may have trust you then and you work for me or you did this, whatever, and I ain't seen you in over 20 minutes. What makes you think that I'm still going to have that same level of trust for you? I don't know. It's like people fade away. Yeah. In your heart, we can say that, oh, you know, I mean, was a wonderful person. I did absolutely nothing and was always there for me. Oh, I loved me some Vi. But you don't take what you have had for a person 30 or 50 years ago to assume that should still be the same standard for that person. Oh, we gonna get to that, honey. So accountability, I think so. But is it fair to say, Fi, that his accountability on making decisions based on what he thought was right or whom he thought was right for his case, could it have been blemished because he knew that he didn't have as much money as he needed to fight and bring in the right respective and appropriate team for himself? Would that be fair enough to say? Would that be fair enough to say? I think that had he, you know, had the finances and put together a team, but I'm wondering how many attorneys even applied for the position. I'm wondering how many people outside of Greenberg and all these Farinellas and here's the thing with the guy, with the attorney that came in as his artist, the music attorney, you know, what is that man name? Serena, do y'all remember? I can't even remember his damn name. The one that Greenberg was that called up and asked about the defense fund. Doug Anton, right? I figured it out. Doug Anton, right? How is it that Doug Anton name was on paperwork going in for R. Kelly's case with the title that he went in on, right? And then he's out here in the midst of this non-essential, irrelevant ass fucking community about R. Kelly's money and the music, right? I'm not sure if he was placed there or put himself into that position to protect R. Kelly's interests when it comes to his music, but yet then R. Kelly's paying him, or Greenberg or whoever he came in up underneath, right, to be out here and to engage and discuss in any type of things dealing, with what's up underneath his title in correlation with R. Kelly. I couldn't understand it. Now, to take it even further, right, because he's withdrawn or he's not on the case at all either, right? For whatever reasons, right? But if he came in suited and booted as that position, then how in the hell did an argument or any presumption of stealing of the music or of R. Kelly's or whatever come about if he was brought in as an attorney, to my understanding, which would have protected all of that? He knows where it is, it's put up, it's this or that, or if there's still, let's say Sony or RCO, whatever, was coming to sue R. Kelly on those premises. Is that when Doug Anton would actually go to work? Is that what his position was for? I'm just saying, like, what was his position for? What exactly did he do in that position that he was listed, signed and sealed on R. Kelly's paperwork as an attorney? What did he do? You don't really think that it was about the money, because if you even look at the BS with these people on the internet who claim to know, you can conclude that he had just made many poor judgments due to it. Okay, I agree with you. We can leave it at poor judgment to trust. I'm down with that. 100% fine. Poor judgment to trust. It really was. After that whole Natasha video over on Instagram, I think R. Kelly should have left it there with them and them only. I think the guy who R. Kelly knows well, and he knows R. Kelly well, those interviews were going great. And his whole storyline could have just been in that one place. I think that I got a little discouraged, just a little bit, to hear R. Kelly on so many freaking different platforms. If I'm not mistaken, I did Storm and Row. If I'm not mistaken, there was Whack 100. If I'm not mistaken, then you go over here, there's a Cousin Levi. I never heard him come through on anything with the Sharon Winbush at all. I never hear him come through on anything with a Bookham or not even the freaking Ops. I'm sure he has done more phone interviews with a few other people, but I just can't call them right now. But I think that at some point, when you are trying to use desperate measures to come out and get your story out and for people to hear you, that you need to keep it in one basket. Spreading it out, you got people asking you a magnitude of different questions, and then your answer may come off differently every freaking time. It just got a growing confusion out here, So, hi, APZ. But I'm just saying, when I see Nicole Becker in this photograph, right, in this video, and yet then she's out here in different people content, being talked about in different kind of ways, different formats, right? At some point, like, when did R. Kelly know her? Who brought her? Why did you trust what she was saying and didn't go and get that verified? Now, that doesn't go to say nevertheless that R. Kelly was also compromised and could have been compromised from this alleged PI that was that come out here that said that he was working for R. Kelly and helping him out, right? I believe the PI because his resume actually showed good credentials. I'm like, damn, dude, you work. What was that, Janet Jackson? You over here? Like, he's had a resume of doing good things. He has a resume having his own business and stuff that he was running. But then the public came out here and then they painted him over there with the team Trent, Opinionated 8 News, and he got painted this way, then he got painted that way, and it was like, and you know who did that? It sucks that Bookham was able to develop and deliver all of these stories behind every single body that said that they was out here to help him. Don Russell, as soon as Don Russell, got done finishing up his rounds of 2 or 3 freaking channels, of course, here comes the bad paint for Don Russell. Here comes the bad paint for the PI. Here comes Sean and his wife. Here comes, and I was like, okay, Bookham, here's a challenge for you. This is what I was saying to myself. Since all of these people are doing wrongful doing to R. Kelly, and everybody, according to Bookham analysis, has set him up or is the reason that he's behind bars. When is Bookham going to tell us who's not? When is Bookham who is Bookham going to say that was the right attorney for R. Kelly and didn't screw up his case? Is there anybody, Bookham? I'm just saying. Is there anybody? Because all he's been giving the public out here after these people come out to introduce themselves and say what they are doing for R. Kelly, he's able to repeat an opposite that they ain't doing shit for R. Kelly. So who is? Because I'm interested on just that part alone by itself, Bookham. Who is? Name one person. Because if you come back to say that there was nobody out here that had R. Kelly's best interest or was loyal to him, then of course you are saying what pretty much everybody, well, at least what I do, he's been fucked. He's been doomed from day one. Nobody. There's nobody. Or tell us who all have been compromised. Go. No more milk. I'm sorry, y'all. My grandson is here. Keandre is here, and he think that he's just gonna drink milk every freaking hour. He's not getting any more because I've given him 3, and that's enough for now. So I'll fix him, puree him some vegetables in a minute. But who? Because if you go and you look at the collages, right? There's absolutely nobody. Every single person that has been in the presence of R. Kelly has screwed him. Everybody. There's nobody. However, if you pay attention, there is still a few people that they don't speak about it. They don't display. They don't say bad things about. Nobody knows what happened to Will. Nobody knows, the whole. What do you want, grandson? No. What do you want? What do you want? Yeah. Okay, I'll get it. Just give me a second. Give grandma a second. He just said the other day that he is the only one together with 5. I needed that laugh. Thank you, love. Yeah. And guess who he said it to? Yeah, just his people. This is people. Now, I mean, if you want to go and knock your head through the wall and have, your mind delusional and believing that you go right ahead. Because if that's the case, fine. If that is the case and that is promissory, right? And where's R. Kelly at? Yeah. Where's that? When they gonna march up in there, suited and booted, and free R. Kelly? Huh? What, in 10 more years? You mean with all of that malarkey, and just because he reads some paperwork that comes out and go over the motions and this and that, that's gonna free R. Kelly? You think because he's able to put pictures up and old videos up of different arguments and entangling him and some things that went down with him and Dubosky, or coming back and readdressing what the PI said or Don Russell said or Keaton said is gonna free R. Kelly? Hey, fine. I'm gonna sit by you and we both gonna say, we'll wait. Don't come back. He what? You getting ready to go take your nap too. Go, don't come back down here, boy. And he gonna be right back down here in a minute. But let me finish this, because with R. Kelly, I think that he just failed in his due diligence of researching and selecting an A-team that was the A-team from the beginning to the very end, standing for him in the dungeon of justice. That's how I feel about it. It could be due because of lack of his dyslexia, lack of trusting. He needed to trust, but it just wasn't there. I'm just grateful for having people that wants to come forward and litigate my case and be my attorney, be my counselor. I think that's how R. Kelly positioned himself, no matter who it was.
So we watch people are saying things that aren't true.
Are you in contact with the defense at all, or are you involved with the defense team at all and any level? And have you been in contact with R. Kelly?
Look, I love Robert. I still represent Robert on the state court cases that are pending here in Illinois. I first introduced him to his current defense lawyer and talk to them all the time. I'll do anything I can to help. I think that this is a case that never should have been brought. These issues were all decided by a jury. Whether you disagree with what that jury did back in the state trial or not, that jury decided.
Let's have a sidebar right quick, right? I want to tell you guys about a story. And the story inside of this is Steven Greenberg. It also happens to be a factual story because I was there, downtown Chicago. And I just want to readdress how Bookham lied about readdressing or addressing a situation that occurred down there, right? And I never spoke on it because I didn't care, and I still don't care today, but we're having a sidebar, right? So we're all outside of the was at the Dirksen, the county building down there, the housing, right? Van Buren over there. And Greenberg office is not too far from there. He stated that. He like literally can see the county building. What's not the county building? I don't know what that building, the jail building, the federal building, okay? Right there from his office window, right? So it just out of the blue, we all just standing and laugh, you know, having a good time. They're playing the music and things of sort, right? And you know, Kaleidoscope says something too that it's just not accurate. There is nobody that was bum rushing up inside of that federal building. Everybody that was there. We was just standing outside, right on the curb, and people were chanting. There was absolutely nobody, not Trent, not a Dubowski, not anybody that was bomb rushing their way up through a federal building. And this is why people tell when they're ready to have their story times. And I know people like to ante up their story, get it all excited and things like that. But what pisses me off is if you're going to try to deliver, not piss me off like that. I ain't pissed off, right? But I'm just saying, like, tell the story, and you want everything that you're saying in your story to be factual to the people because you're in a moment of trying to convince people of your factuality, your findings. But then later on down in your paragraph, in your sentence talking points and all this stuff, then you throw, the bullshit in there. That didn't happen. So I'm listening to her and I'm with her. I'm like, well, okay, this is what, okay, she's saying this now. Wait for the punchline. And then I'm over here coughing bullshit when I'm standing right there. Total bullshit. But I got to embellish the freaking story. And that's the killing part for me when people just ride your story out. You ain't got to put in no goddamn trigger reaction point of views because it didn't happen. That is lies. Straight up 100,000 trillion billion freaking lie. Those people were standing right there. There were upfront people down there. So for them to talk about this protest was this hot mess and this, there were grown ass people down there, you guys, older people. There were no kids, down there chatting unless someone brought along, the baby. And I also heard that too come out of Kaleidoscope mouth, which I didn't, I'm like, really? Really? Do you think that having a baby on the bus is the reason why R. Kelly has been served 30 days, then you got to be sadly goddamn mistaken. But this is what they want to take to use to embellish their freaking stories, to make who they arguing with, which their opposite, right? Make their story stronger and convincing about some things, and also to persuade. And now I understand why sometimes you have to sequester your freaking jury, because you'll have people like this that wants to do a whole bunch of persuasion. So now let me say this and get this out here to 50 people over here, so these 50 people can feel some type of way based on what the hell you're saying, when in fact you're persuading these people on a pack of fucking lies. And that's the boy. Move on, Pat, because I get in my feelings and get the talking too much crap. Calm it down, tone it down. Woosa. Okay. The baby didn't get R. Kelly 30 years. The senseless stuff that they say. I'm just making my point to you guys, and you all are grown and all of that stuff, to be able to detect inside of these stories that they perpetuate out here to this goddamn public, that they, in my opinion, because y'all know I ain't scared of a mother sucking thing, they all have poking freaking lies in they shit. They all, in my opinion, and when I say they all, this is they all that continues to stay on these microphones acting like they finna free R. Kelly tomorrow, and they're not, right? With they bullshit. And they are all, this is my opinion, they are all, hear me, y'all, they all together in this shit. You can't keep saying it no better than that. That's it. They're all of them on these goddamn microphones who calls themselves some type of relations to an R. Kelly. They all have been in cahoots with each other. Then they break off with each other because somewhere they're going to figure out, oh my God, somebody's catching on to us. Somebody is saying, now it's let's get back together. Oh, then let's break off together. When I tell, listen, y'all, but y'all will see in the end, because everything comes to an end. These people are in cahoots together. Okay. And it's okay that we're watching the breakup. It's okay. You will probably not see the makeup of it. But just know that that Columbra, that circle of these people, see, when you in something, when you come in together for whatever particular motive that they have had to do so, it's going to be limited. Okay, let's go back to Dabrowski's quote, chant. If one go down, it's going to ricochet to the others. Sharon Winbush is not gonna get arrested and go into interrogation room where they're threatening her. Oh, well, you're gonna get 30 years for your part, and y'all think that she's not gonna sit up there now and say, well, this was his part, this was her part, this was her part. So they are strategic. And as much as we don't want to accept it, and we're looking at these people like, okay, all this darn buffoonery, concocted stuff out here, they being goddamn strategic. They can't make each other that serious, because if one go down, it's going to ricochet to the other one. But that's just my opinion. But I'll be here for it. You can bet that.
This is motivated by a so-called documentary, which wasn't really a documentary. And I hope he wins the case.
All right, Steve Greenberg, we thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So that was that, right? But like I said, at some point, do I believe genuinely that Greenberg absolutely came in, to help R. Kelly? I do. But before I fast forward on this, let me backtrack. Greenberg comes from underneath or somewhere. Okay, it was the right side of the street. We're all on the left side of the street. And he comes from just nowhere. I don't know if he came from underground parking. I don't know if he just made a right turn coming from Michigan Street to circle back around to the federal building or whatever. And he stopped. He stopped right there in the middle of the street in his drop top convertible to say hello to the people. The people emerged themselves over there to Greenberg. does some handshaking. Some might have took a picture with them, and thanks Greenberg for supporting, for supporting R. Kelly. That did happen. I believe that Miss April's and it was a few others. I think DJ Tyson might have went and shook his hand, a few others. Everybody excited. Oh my God, here's R. Kelly's, freaking attorney. And it was so brief, maybe about 5 minutes. Then he pulled off. That concludes that story. Nothing more and nothing less happened according to how Bookham or anybody else has told that freaking story out here. I'm like, the shit that they can concoct up with, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. You literally have to be there. And I was there. As much as they expose each other, even without prosecution, what do you think could potentially happen if they are prosecuted? What do you think can happen if they are prosecuted? This would have to be a total, a different case. This wouldn't be in a case to establish things that they have. I don't think that they said or circumvented around the R. Kelly's case. Here's what I think. Here's what I think should happen, at least to one person, in my opinion, and that is the Kaleidoscope. I think, and we know that it's not going to happen, but I think I'm going to go down the line individually. Fine. Kaleidoscope. I think for all of the people that has been panhandled in the collages and their story told by her, hopefully she is absolutely correct. I think that those people should come out and challenge her. I do. I think that those people, if we, have that type of court proceedings, and we don't, it should say, well, you know what, let's get together and we're going to file a civil suit and bring her in to prove what she's trying to prove. That's just me. Bookham. I think that all of the people in the same retrospect that Bookham has went up against and talked about and portrayed who was this and who was that, that was inside of, now I have to go with R. Kelly's friendship hood and this or that. I think that all of them need to get together and also bring Bookham in, and even if it's just for exposure to prove that he was nowhere near connected to an R. Kelly to the extent that they are. Okay, well, and also prove where the hell he got all of this stuff to flip flop and turn all these stories the way that he do. Well, I know that by if you give the time of the day a little bit later, I'm going to be all kind of dumbass bitches. You feel me? I think that R. Kelly himself, when it comes to Cousin for the Levi, if we were in real time, we know that this isn't real, so we're just hypothetically speaking, generally, should also file a charge or some type of charge or something for Cousin for the Levi to come in and explain to him, I don't know, maybe some formal mediation on real live CBS and ABC. It would be fun. It would be interestingly fun. It would be fun as fun. But it's gonna take R. Kelly to say and prove differently. It is what it is. He say he the cousin, then fucking he the cousin. Oh well. I don't know for certain whether if all of those phone calls were real. I don't know. We know that maybe they pre-recorded, and if they are pre-recorded, then it's possible that, people do come and edit some things or do voiceovers and stuff like that. So it's really hard to believe, but I think that it will be quite interesting if the story that Sharon Winbush says that, well, R. Kelly did not receive any fucking money, then, well, okay, well, we'll wait for R. Kelly to bring this up in court on and the people that he choose on who used him and stole the fucking money. Let them bring it to the stand. Now, I don't know about you, Five, but I'm pretty much leaning towards a lot of them would scatter. What you leaning towards, Five? I think a lot of them were scattered. I really, really do. But I mean, the nitty gritty, it just ain't gonna happen until, you know, R. Kelly stands up and take control of this situation out, you know, amongst the people who he can actually have a chance of hearing them say these things. You know, even though the situation happened to R. Kelly about within the circle of particular female spy, right? I'm gonna ask you this. Would you necessarily would want a person to continue to be exposing what they think has happened about a female and yourself? I'm just saying, because keep in mind, opticals have different views to certain presentations. You know what I mean? Like, okay, well, oh, you gonna put this girl up. Okay, you got this girl up. You got this girl up. You got, oh, well, wait a minute. We forgot about that girl. We never interviewed that girl. Now the feds coming again. See, sometimes what's understood doesn't always necessarily need to be explained or shown. Now, I'm sitting here and back to what you and I kind of stated earlier about the accountability. There just may have been a few up in the collages, right, that R. Kelly probably never want to ever have fucking mentioning of. But it's like, well, thanks to the public people, R. Kelly, sorry for you because they ain't putting it all out on you. They're putting it all out on you. But people, I don't think that far ahead. Now, in order to develop your own perception, deep diving into someone else's lifestyle, whom he been with, how he been with them, or how much money he spent, and the places that he has been. I think that to go to the extent that that you know she kind of going to, right? I think that it should require some type of permission, you know, from maybe R. Kelly or whoever his attorney of power is, just so that you can be at least 90%, you know, factual about your shit. What do you? I told y'all he'll be back. What do you want? No. Beat it. It's 4:02. I still got to get this stuff done though. But I'm just saying, it is. I think it's sometimes when you want to help out a whole lot, you can be helping out too much, and there'll be some damage, you know, in the midst of that. But I don't think people really care about treading lightly. You know, I think that, to me, exposing what was actually argued about in the courts would be absolutely okay. But if it was not presented as an argument on behalf of R. Kelly or against R. Kelly, it's like stay away from them areas, because you never know. And everybody knows that the feds are strategic. Everybody knows that. I don't think or would ever wish or hope that R. Kelly would have any more charges up against him on anything. Ever would I do that. However, you just don't know, you know, what wrench life will throw you. And since this federal government wanted R. Kelly extremely that freaking bad, and if it comes down to showing whatever after Bo Brinkley gets done or whatever, that some of the reprimand would rescind, and expunged off of him, and then they're gonna get strategic and find other ways. Like, let's just say he walks home freely tomorrow. Now, all of this stuff that's displayed that wasn't arguable in the court of law or this or that, right? He'll have to look over his shoulder for the rest of his freaking life, because you best believe that they is well capable of poking in your story to find something else, to start investigating a whole nother girl or storyline that was presented out here that ain't never been touched on. How is it that you think that they can't find these people and offer them the same opportunity or the chances of what they just did with Rashonda Landfair? Make it make sense. Because they can. Because they can. But had you not been uncovering so much shit, it's like, what the, man, I know if R. Kelly be saying this, it's like, what the fuck? What in the hell? What in the bejeez? I just, maybe it's from the walk of life that I've been through, You tell only what was told, but you don't dig out what was never seen. I'll just say it. Weird, right? But people that does those type of things, and they feel one advantage over other people because other people are not doing that, so they will gloat that and feel like the GOAT. Two, of course, we know with YouTube it brings in revenue, depending on how your story is manifesting and how you put together your phases and your graphics and your storyline to it. And three, people love to have debates behind things that they're putting out. Now, Sharon Winbush is a whole different case by itself. Where do I align my opinion about Sharon Winbush, which I've already aligned my opinion about it, is entertainment purpose only. R. Kelly said it over on the Natasha shows of the call-ins on the Instagram, and they asked him that particular question, and I get it. Sharon Winbush would come back and oppose and say some deflecting things and such and such and such and such, and I sit back and I laugh at it, because R. Kelly said that she's cool, she's a little bit of this, but I have not worked with a Sharon Winbush in X amount of freaking years. I have not seen, I like her, I love her, she's good people and everything. However, and that told me that Sharon Winbush has not been around for X amount. Sharon Winbush, in fact, told you, in my opinion, her story, and the only story that she was able to put out. And that's when she was looking for a match inside of R. Kelly's home to barbecue some chicken. She went upstairs, I guess, looking for a match, and was in the panty drawer. She found the actual panty drawer, and she noticed that, here come what's her name? Sparkle. She sat there and told you two people. She said the people name who was, up in there, and I'm like, she doing? So, and I'm thinking, why would she be telling this? Does she not know that this is part of the case that they're trying to prove against an R. Kelly about him having numerous of women around. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, okay, well, she's telling a story. I didn't find that story nevertheless to make it a point, because y'all know me, I kind of like the shits and giggles part of it, you know. And so I did the live way back then when Sharon Wimbush came out, and I'm like, how the hell she up there looking for the matches in the panty drawer? You would only think to kind of find a match for the grill only around in the kitchen area, maybe somewhere in the dining area, you know, laying on the table. It might be some matches or a lighter that R. Kelly or some other people in the drawer in the upstairs. But what did she say? She found some pictures. And guess what they did? They then sent some damn people out there and took R. Kelly homes, and they raided his homes, and they found some pictures too. I'm just saying, maybe if Sharon Wimbush, when it came out talking about how she found some pictures and some women would be all up there in the bed and stuff. Now, she never did get back to the story about how that damn chicken turned out. She went on in her story years ago talking about how Drea, didn't help him, and he, she would go to the grocery store and spend $1,000, stuff like that, and that was pretty much it. Then later on, she come back and she had the big fallout or the beef with Andrea Kelly, and so I'm like, well, okay, maybe she wasn't been there, so maybe she's reemerging and bringing herself back into R. Kelly's life. And another thing was about Sharon Wimbush, especially when I heard the ladies over there, Just Jazz and them, and they were getting themselves prepared to go to New York and stuff like that. Even the video with Sharon Wimbush and Randa Baby, right? And Randa Baby was going through her situation back and forth with Bookham and yada yada yada, right? Bookham even embellished that damn stories, right? But I can hear in Sharon Wimbush, not only that one, it was when we finished up the Walk for Kills, and believe Dubosky had finished up his first or the second protest down there. And I didn't know Sharon, so I'm scoping, I'm scanning or whatever. Then I heard her say, she shitted on those protesters. And I'm like, I thought you were for R. Kelly. But she really shitted on them, y'all. I was really upset about that. I did a live, on that, because that also Sharon Wimbush and along with Drunken Larry were the main two that was kicking off the demolishing and the negative stuff about R. Kelly's protests. They were the first two. I was like really shocked. I was like, Sharon, I thought you. So I did say something. And I remember one quote that I did. It's one statement that I did say in that live. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was like, well, you go and tell R. Kelly this. You tell R. Kelly that we did such a freaking horrible job trying to verbally support him amongst a whole bunch of goddamn people downtown Chicago, when we all know that doing something like this is very sensitive. It could be very dangerously done, because the majority, maybe it's even out here, where people don't like nothing that is insinuating that a person is a SA predator, and I'm like, this was very hard and complicated to do. But did the community over here help with that? Yeah, like, what? I was like, oh man, I'm so done with this shit, because you didn't know who was who. But so I definitely remember that one, and that's when I came across Sharon Wimbush. I was upset with Sharon Wimbush really for that one. Now, as I'm listening to Sharon Wimbush direct, because she is a director. She has a character of orchestrating and directing, never involving herself. Was that whole New York situation or whatever. And all I heard her just kept saying, well, you all need to go do. And I remember another live that I did because I have a problem with that. There's no you all, it's we all. It's everybody boots on the ground. You know, you can orchestrate it out here with everybody. Why is it that everybody who's out here that's choosing to be out here, face on its own videos and fingerprints over here and this going on, and yours is just exclusive? What? And so, you know, that there, you know, about that whole thing, that's just a red flag. To me, that's fine. You know, people prefer to be behind the scenes, and you hear it frequently with Kaleidoscope about I didn't have to be there, and I didn't have to read this, and I don't have to do that. Well, here's what I think. I think that running your story based on having that real-time experience, it's way better than captivating and cultivating fucking stories where you wasn't at. You understand? Like what? Like, well, okay, well, I got a piece of this snapshot. I got a piece of this conversation. Okay, I got that video. Okay, I got this. Okay, now let's put this and plaster this all together. And of course, she said it a million times, you know, exaggerating, that you all, you know, put together and develop your own perception about things. This is just what, and I'm like, you know what that is? That's dancing. That's tap dancing. That is break dancing. That is pop locking all around the bullshit. Okay? But that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I truly do think that once a person come and have the experience of an involvement, now you have the facts. Now you can put the facts out. But if you have not been there, you have not been around, you have not been in that man's house, you have not sat down and had an actual conversation with any of those ladies or R. Kelly, you will never have the facts. You just only have established what your opinions. Here's what I think how this went down. And that's not how they run that in the court of law. You do not have a prosecutor up there saying, well, sometimes they'll do it in their closing arguments because they, of course, they have to paint together the story based on all of the witnesses' testimony. And they paint, you know, because they got to shorten it down, right? They got to shorten it down. But you will hardly ever hear that. But other than that, like I say, I like entertainment purpose only shit, but you just have to know not to let people tap into your inner spirit, your inner thought, and change what you know you already know, and you know it for a fact. But just because somebody's saying it differently or it sounded more smoother and good or whatever, man, if y'all don't go ahead on and go get on up out of here. You said just these people tell his story the way he exactly Fi. Never told his story the way we're hearing it out here like this. Never. As a matter of fact, you don't have that many to relate his stories back as far as to the ability of your perception, the way you see it. He don't really have 1,000, but well, maybe he do his interviews and stuff, but I'm talking about pertaining to this case, you know. So I don't know if I watch them. Like I say, I sit back, let me get my popcorn ready, because R. Kelly ain't spoke about none of these people. And I know, you know, we'll hear back. He ain't got to. He ain't got to hear about it there. You'll hear all that there reachable freaking argumentative bullshit that you ain't gonna get no damn respond to anyway. One thing I could give to them when it comes to SW is that she only gives directions instead of, and she does, you know. And I'm not saying that her directions could be more so incorrect off the scale. However, it's just I minimize, you know. I'm like, okay, y'all go do it. I want to see somebody pull something off based off of her directions. I'm done. I ain't gonna be directed by anybody to do nothing else. I'm focused on me now. You know, it sucks when you have tried to establish one entity of support for R. Kelly, and it just couldn't happen out here. Too many want R. Kelly in different ways, and it just clashed. Just like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Hell no. Mm-mm. So, Doug Anton, let me show you guys, oh shit, what it is saying about him. Okay. He just only came in as a spokesperson. I wonder how much money was R. Kelly paying just to have Doug Anton come in as a spokesperson. But if he came in only as a spokesperson, I'm truly concerned. Like, how did he get tangled up into a freaking defense fund? Jennifer Bonjean shut that shit down real quick. Didn't play along with it at all. Nada. She shut it down, y'all. But here you had Doug Anton, who had plenty amount of time to answer all of these phone calls and concoct whatever his rebuttal is behind being convinced allegedly by Bookham, and then also bringing in the cousin for the Levi, and the name got changed up. The only time Doug Anton actually got tired of it and then decided to escape from this situation. Greenberg came out unbeknownst to him, not knowing that Doug Anton had affiliations or so with the Bookham. You too. You have a nice day too. I'm getting ready to get off too, so because I got to get my paperwork done, and I'm going to go put my steaks and my potatoes on for Mother's Day for my treat to myself and some vegetables, and that's what I'm having tonight. So, but thank you for stopping by, and I enjoyed conversating with you. Thank you. So, that was one occasion. Okay, then you had the second occasion was when they flipped the title for the donation fund to the Dollar for the King, and Doug Anton was like, "This is too much. I got it all, all the dollars and the dollars and the dollars," and then after that, this whole defense just kind of faded away, other than the middle inside details that went down about, somebody sent money they didn't get, and then Bookham kind of got into the middle of that, and somebody needed $20,000 and I'm gonna get her money back to her, and, all that crazy stuff, right? But this is what it says. Doug Anton was not brought into the R. Kelly case by a specific person. Now, something else that needs to be noticed, right? And there's also a deflection to that notice of event that goes on. Every single time, if there's something that went on that a Bookham have engaged in, and in that sense, right? You'll notice, like with the Kaleidoscope, never talks about that. The deflecting of that is, she don't give a damn about what a Bookham that said or did, and y'all is the fools, and who followed that, and y'all did this to him first. It don't matter who did it first or last. The entire engagement was there. So, of particular parts being played out, which also, set the stage that, man, his hands ain't entirely clean out here. Hold on. But for some apparent reason, she keeps she deflects around it and keeps the focus where she wants it to be, which is on the people that she feels has an attack or a negative presence off of her presentation. And that's it. That's all with that. But by golly, I don't care what y'all saying. I can't say it no more than 100 times because then my tongue will get dry. She do keep him up in forefront though on them goddamn on collages. I don't care what you say. Now I don't know what the intent is. I don't know what the intent is, but she keeps him there. And to me, that's a good thing. Keep them right on up there because throughout the particular storyline that she's telling on that particular eventful collages, right? It does paint him. If you keep your brain open, you know, it does paint him there. It paints him there. No doubt about it. Undeniable. So I want her to keep him like right up there because there's going to be an end to this shit. It's going to be an end to this shit. But with the Anton, it says here that he was a spokesman. So R. Kelly was paying him as a spokesman to come out to get himself involved inside of a freaking defense fund. A spokesman for what? So he wasn't there to help protect anything about the interest of R. Kelly's music because I thought he was a entertainment attorney. So entertainment attorney now is exactly defined as, oh, he's a spokesperson. His job was to come out here to entertain y'all with this bullshit about this damn defense fund. R. Kelly paid him for that shit. R. Kelly paid him for that shit. Oh my God. Anton made headlines in August of 2020 when he confirmed to CNN that R. Kelly was attacked by another inmate. He confirmed that. Oh, I forgot. He was the spokesperson. Oh, okay. Anton worked alongside the other attorneys on Kelly's defense team, such as Greenberg and Thomas Farinella. And they literally all, I believe, left at the same damn time. Not when, you know, not just the time period of some entanglement going on with the attorneys. They also booked up when the shit went down with that damn defense. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Hold on. What did answer? Oh, Lord, I can't say, hold on. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. I'm going to go and accept it. Look at all these people. I got it. Look at all these people that tied your hands to your back. Look at this shit. You trusted all of these damn people. Where they at now? That one there, you trusted that. He trusted that one. He trusted. Lord have mercy. Y'all, they had him surrounded, man. They had R. Kelly surrounded. He couldn't get up out of this one. This was insane, y'all. He couldn't even get out of that. Whoever it was, man, they surrounded him with what you call them with wild DOGs. Y'all know how they eat your flesh. They don't even care. You can't even wiggle yourself out from a bunch of freaking wild dogs, man. Them dogs crazy. What is this right here? Let's see what it say. What it say out here? Now I'll log in. What it say? Let's see what it says.
Defense attorney, but I've had several meetings and discussions with Robert. I think he's innocent. I believe he's innocent. I've seen evidence that shows he's innocent of the crimes that were alleged of him. So doing an interview like that, you have to understand the guy's fighting for his life, not only against the law that's about media, but he's fighting for his life as a public figure. Yeah. And he was very passionate about not having done those things. But then again, you know, you have to understand, as a man, what we might do might not be seen by us as, like, Cuomo.
Doug Anton doesn't mince words. In this clip from Organized Minds, the attorney shares his personal belief that R. Kelly was innocent and reflects on what he says he saw while representing him. I'm confused. Somebody please help me. Was he representing him as a trial attorney, or he was just representing him as a spokesperson? because you had him as a spokesperson, you had Daryl Johnson as a spokesperson. Everybody was a damn spokesperson. What you say the most? She fails to realize that posting people pictures 3 or 4 times in 7 weeks commentary is cyber stalking. Yeah, maybe so, but like me and Pa was discussing, like, you know, at some point it could be possible that somebody will come across that and be like, well, who is this person and what is this or this? And then end up filing something in the court to bring her in to, you know, sue her based on, you know, non-factual information, because people perception, you know, it can land you in jail too. You know, you ain't telling the truth. You ain't telling the truth. But I also, you know, like to point out that a lot of the stuff that is painted up there together is not stuff that you have heard R. Kelly expose or his attorneys expose about. So sometimes it is necessary to tread a little light-footed with thinking that because you're what's his name, I'm trying to do a Blues Clues and Sherlock Holmes, right? You can also open up the doors to something else. So, but she can have at it. It is what it is. Ain't my damn problem. I'm just saying, but it is. Obviously, people don't care. And if you don't care, excuse me, you're going to do, you know, what you want to do anyway, especially, you know, in return, you know, if there is a nice penny coming in from certain commentary or things that you're doing, they're definitely going to be blindsided by the illegal matter of it. I don't give a shit about that. About that, taking my money. They can care freaking less. But like I say, I'm just a little bit baffled about all of these spokespersons that people that R. Kelly actually had. Y'all, Jesus Christ. I'm also, you know, just curious, you know, with Bookham. What Bookham? I just want to know what made you want to reach out to Doug Anton. Doug Anton was definitely not, according to these articles, attorney's trial, a court attorney. It looked like he was just only entertaining the public out here. But you chose him to run a whole defense fund with. I don't know, weird. Why did you choose him? Why didn't you select Jennifer Bonjamin or Greenberg? Why wasn't this ran with Greenberg? At least he was the attorney. I'm just saying. Shit is crazy. Because, man, listen, I don't know. Well, we'll see where this goes. That's just, you know, my perspective for today and my opinions for today. And just like don't nobody gives a rat ass about your opinions, I don't give a rat ass about how you feel about mine, because there ain't nothing you can do about it. And I'm going to tell it and share it. And just like you, they be killing me with that shit. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. Well, everybody feels that way. Everybody feels that way. APZ, how you doing today? And happy Mother's Day to you tomorrow. Let me apply that to all of the ladies, all of the men that are taking care of their children in their lives. I like both Mother's and Father's Day. Take care of those babies, you know. So we'll see, you know, where this goes. But we all, you know, realize that, oh boy, this gonna be a long road ahead. Yeah, it's gonna be a long road ahead. Who's gonna be in the most trouble at the end of this ride? Who else is going to be addressed or, you know, questioned by the DAs and the feds and the Homeland Securities? And or do y'all think that this is just going to go on back and forth to be some type of, you know, entertainment that of your likings? I don't know. Y'all know I like it. I be out. That damn Sharon Winbush. I think she pulled the video down. I believe so. Boy, she had all kind of pictures up there. You know, a kaleidoscope gets a little finicky, a little touchy when something like that gets exposed. She definitely will make sure that she addresses everyone that has something to say behind it or even laugh at it. Okay. And hey, that's just the natural emotions that do outbursts. You know, it does it just happens. It comes out. Respectfully, she's entitled to them, but that shit was funny as fuck. I'm like, pancake and poo poo. What the fuck? I'm gonna have to try. But let that, you know, be taken as a lesson to you ladies. If that is your preference of, you know, doing that type of work and having that type of fun in your lifetime at, you know, doing some time period of your growth, just make sure when you retire from it, man, do everything that is possible to retrieve that information so that it is not there. You know, what do they say? Hey, your resume is your resume. Now, I ain't mad at it because she ain't the only one. And we all know that the back pages and the blue pages and stuff are out there like that to entice and coerce. But let me put this on the record. Hi, Angie. I said that a long time ago also in the video. And of course, you know, I got attacked back on it, but I ain't paying no attention to it. It is what it is. I said that when you are positioning yourself in a manner to represent a celebrity of your choice, and this one happens to be R. Kelly. R. Kelly case has to do with a prostitution, has to do with trafficking, has to do with, you know, a whole bunch of, you know, not only, you know, goddamn essay tapes and, porno freaking tapes and stuff like that, right? If you are in any shape, form, or fashion have anything in your resume that symbolizes something of what's clear to what his charges are, there is no way in fuck you should be near that goddamn case. None. It does not look good. It really doesn't. But you know, because here's why I say that. This is what they have challenged up, spoken up, invented on R. Kelly to concoct all of these freaking charges, right? Oh, he's this. Oh, he does this to the women. Oh, he makes this. Oh, and all his women like their clothes off, and all of this and does that. The job is to prove that in the opposite manner. You can prove the opposite. Keep your clothes on. Don't concoct your legs open. Don't be seen in no fucking videos, and don't be doing none of that stuff. Because then now you can say, okay, well, that's not true. But here you are. That, you know, we have someone that is going real hard for an R. Kelly, right? It's so easy for somebody to concoct a story about, see, that's one of them right there. R. Kelly probably made her, you know, undress and take pictures like that and have pancakes and pootie tat on them. Did that girl say you online stroking your goddamn? Now I know, you know, Wimbush went. I said that the other day. That was too far. You know darn well that girl is not online stroking on her damn monkey. Now don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Like, keep it clean a little bit. But I'm just saying that could have easily, you know, started, you know, some more other entertainment. It could. Like, if you go. I think that the goal was to go against the opposite of what they were describing or how they were describing in R. Kelly. So therefore, if R. Kelly got all of these people allegedly trying to stand up for him and say things in good face for him, right? Then, okay, your whole resume needs to be goddamn squeaky goddamn clean. Fuck is that? It needs to be clean as it was. They can't find this. They can't talk about you about this. They can't do that. They can't do that. They can't do that. Now you win. But now it's like, oh boy, you know. I mean, she can contest that, you know, if the people come and show up and but I don't know. They might, you know, if they show up and they get to say, well, you know, we're gonna offer you a lifetime of, you know, Section 8 and we'll pay you, you know, 3 million behind the scenes or whatever to testify. You know, other than that, we're going to build a case saying that you were coerced and all that stuff by R. Kelly too. We don't care if you do go on the stand and say you won. We're going to find a date like this. And shit like that can happen though, y'all. Shit like that can happen. That's why you got to be careful. But hey, who are we to talk? Costume art is selling now. It's hot as fuck. Y'all seen all them costumes over there for that bowl? Mega, what is it? Meg something. Yeah, y'all seen all that? Did y'all see the part? Y'all see, they out here saying that Beyonce and Blue Ivy and Jay-Z or whatever would be banned from the following. What the hell is the name of that shit? Meg, let me find what it is so I can say it right. I need to say it correctly. Correctly. I sat up last night watching a few of them. I want to see some of the gowns. I don't know if y'all seen that one white gown this lady was wearing, right? Man, that gown, god dang it, filled up my whole the train of it. It took up my whole backyard. It took up hold on. Galas. Okay. I just want to make sure I got it right. I want to say it right. The Met Gala. And yes, look at nobody. Thank you, girl. I be loving when y'all have my back because y'all know I be messing up some words over here, chopping, screwing them when I'm saying them. But that's, I guess, part of my goddamn, everybody's got a dyslexia, right? When I'm saying them, I chop them up. But when I'm putting them on paper, man, I'm a beast, okay? Differently. Okay, so, but the Met Gala, right? This one lady had on this white dress. I want to see if I can, let me see if I can find her. This dress, I got to mute it though, so hold on. I'm switching subjects on y'all, so hold on. Let me see if I can find this one white dress, y'all. I'm on here like, man, that's my whole dang on. Is this her? That's my whole damn backyard. Man, ain't no way. Listen, now I don't know how much they paid her to wear that. I don't even know who the designer is. And I'm sure it comes off to be worn as a wedding dress or something. I don't know, but I'm like, would you look at this train? Can you imagine how heavy that was pulling that damn train? It was at least 7 to maybe up to 10 guys that straighten it out so that it can have that circular vision. You know, is this it? What is this at, y'all? I'm gonna strike your page for this shit here. Oh my, maybe it was on another. I'm gonna find it. I need y'all to see this train. I'm like, what in the hell? Now, some of the outfits were dazzling. They were. And some of the outfits I can find a place to wear them, you know. But then there was a lot of them. I'm like, man, the fuck I will be walking around with all that shit. What about the man? Did y'all see the one guy that was in the blue caped up like dress? I'm sure he was LBGT. I'm sure he was, right? I was like, oh. I can't find it. Every time I want to show y'all something, like I can't find it. I'm bad at queuing up stuff. Okay, I just go out on a rim with this shit. I can't find this girl's. No, I cannot find it. Maybe it's on a different video thing because they got so many of them out, you know. But there was some beauty ones. But let me tell y'all about the story. You like Sierra and Russell Wilt? Do you like theirs? I didn't have a particular. I didn't. I just was like, okay, I'll wear that one. I'll wear that one, and I'll wear that one. They were nice. Now that I understand the Met Gala, you know, I'm like, okay, this is more costume wear. I get it. Fashionable, high-end dresses and blah, blah, blah. Now, I do remember talking about how they have very, very, very strict guidelines. They have conditions. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do this. You can't have that. You can't do this. And you must follow those. I read that, right? So on YouTube, there's a bunch of YouTuber content creators that was putting the information out about how Blue was gestured to take off her glasses.
Take the feathers off as she walks up. This is going to be a wonderful experience seeing her as we're eating. I'm gonna go walk over right up. Wonderful experience seeing her. The queen has it in. Wow. Oh, even her gloves. She's got something on her fingers.
Oh no, that's fine.
No. Do you see Blue?
They won't even let me pause it.
Wow. Mommy-daughter duo.
Oh my God, it will not pause the video. I want to show y'all.
It looks amazing.
They really got a lot of this stuff blocked.
And this, even her gloves. I own everything.
Yeah, it won't let me pause it. You gotta be kidding me. It won't let me open up the screen.
This is warming my like mommy heart.
Okay, anywho, let's go.
He's like, wait, not in front of my mom.
How the heck can I get out of here? Hold on. Okay, that okay, I can show this part. So with the conditions, as you say, I didn't see a lot. Yeah, I kind of was, relaxing last night and kind of skipped through a lot of it. But the dress that Beyonce had on was immaculate. Man, it was fire. However, I'm trying to see if, I can tote around, a whole train of feathers. The dress was strong enough to stand on its own, y'all. It was that powerful. But the word on the curb, hi Nalaman, the word on the curb was because of the conditions, right? The rules that they tell you when you are selected as part of this A team, the A1s or whatever they shared, right? That you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. If you guys saw this when it came on, you'd have seen where there were several people. Now, this could have been the sponsor or the designer that that was telling Blue to take your shades off. You got to take your shades off. See, because there's pictures and things that are being taken, right? And a lot of these pictures that get publicized or used for certain things, people make money off of that, right? We know everything, and where it's going to be about money. So Blue whispered, to Beyonce. Beyonce kind of looked at her, and then Jay-Z comes over and he gestures to Blue, take your shades down, because they knew the conditions, they knew the rules. But the argument out here on some of the chat rooms, right, was that, Blue's 14. Mama Bear, probably kicked in and says, well, if she doesn't want to show her eyes and her face, then okay, you don't have to, because she did not take them down. It was a little bit later that she actually took them off, right? But walking out here on here, Blue wasn't, she just wasn't having it, y'all. And of course, it was determined now and relayed by a lot of chat rooms out here that that they will be banned because they failed to follow the rules, the conditions, and that it applied to all of them. So it ended up being a second argument about this family, right? And it was about why is it and how is it that Blue, being allegedly the only child, 14, out here at this Met Gala event, because in some of the in the guidelines or so, you had to be 18. It does state that. I read it. It says you have to be 18. So of course, now we're able to know, which you guys already know, that certain people, certain privileges. Now, these events, these people come out because they are selected, and when you are selected, the sponsor or the designee or whatever, they pay for everything. You don't have to pay for anything, and the starting price to even be here is $100,000 per person, meaning that once you commit to that or you accept that invite, now you're there. Now you got to do and run this exactly how the disclaimers and conditions and rules are. No exceptions or none of that. These are the clothes that we will pick out for you to wear, because this is what is part of the costume art is part of what is Met Gala, So I learned the Hey Beauty, right? And I was like, oh, okay. This has been going on since 1948, if I'm not mistaken. Then it's 58. It's one or the other, but I think it was 48, right? So, but I never really, like I say, looked into it. And then, I would see this event and glance through it here and there, but I'm like, I really didn't know that it actually had some history behind that. But the question is, are they really banned? And I'm going to have to say, this is why I say I don't believe that they are, is because all of these costumes are selected carefully for these people, these celebrities, to walk in and be in this event, right? Well, if they are banned, then that means that the sponsor or the designer that picked out Blue and Beyonce or Jay-Z's attire, right? Then they're banned, because somebody had to know what the hell Blue was going to wear. Somebody had to know how old she was. Or it goes back without saying, did Beyonce and the designer make some deal and they didn't care, and okay, if this is our last show and you want to take, let's go for it. Maybe they thought that bringing Blue out would be able to position themselves with changing some of the conditions, just talking about the age. Now, maybe next year you'll probably see, or I don't know how often this event happens, so I probably shouldn't say next year, right? But maybe when the next event come about, you'll probably see now some more underage, kids out there walking in this Met Gala. Did they just open up something new? Did they open up where there can be an argument and possibly a vote on bringing in children under the age of 18? Because their condition is you must be 18 or older. But like I said, if Beyonce is dressed in this designer outfit, well, that designer should also be in trouble then, right? The designer should also probably be banned.